and welcome to my channel. We're starting this makeup look with already foundation and concealer, so my base is already on and we're getting straight into the airbrush gun. The paint I'm using is the MAC Pro Performance HD Airbrush Makeup, and this is in primary yellow. I start off by making a triangle over my nose and my eyes. The airbrush gun I'm using is by Decay. I do have a video all about it on my channel, so if you want to know more about it, go and have a look. Once I created some faded out triangles over my eyes and my nose, I started to do a bit of a smile line across my face, and I also started to fill in my neck a little bit. Once I've done that, I changed to the shade Genuine Orange and went over what I'd already drawn, but kind of focused it in to the centre to create that faded look. If you do not have an airbrush gun, do not worry, you can do this with eyeshadows. I did one last year, very similar to this with eyeshadows, but you could also use regular face paint. Once I darkened up the face, I then go down to the neck as well, concentrating around the jawline and then slowly fading it out down the neck. Now using the shade Pure Orange, I do exactly the same, but again concentrating more centre into the shapes that I have drawn, so it becomes a more of an ombre effect. Moving on to my Snazaroo face paints, I got this huge palette on Amazon. It is honestly the best thing that I've got. I'm using a small angled eyeliner brush by Elf, and I'm going into that black face paint and creating the triangles of the pumpkin. So I'm starting off with the nose and then moving on to the eyes. Now it's time to cut the crease, and I'm using my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer and a flat eyeshadow brush to apply it. I then apply a red metallic eyeshadow to the lid, and this one is called After Party and it is in the Urban Decay Heavy Metals palette. To get rid of the harsh lines of the black face paint, I get a black eyeshadow, and this is by Urban Decay and it's called Blacked Out. I get that on a small blending brush and put it along the bottom lash line and also blend it in to the top so it all blends in nicely together. And to finish that off, I line my waterline with a black eyeliner. Now it's time for the pumpkin mouth. I start off by just drawing a smile line with a black face paint, and then I start drawing the teeth, I guess. I know it's not teeth, but I don't know what else to call it. I wanted to make this really creepy and different to what I have done before, because I've done pumpkin looks before and I did them more realistic to a pumpkin when you carve it, but this time I wanted to make it look more like teeth and a bit more creepy. Once I got all the teeth done that I wanted, I then went along, filled them all in and thickened them up a bit, because I didn't want it to be a really thin line with teeth. I wanted to make it wider so it looked more realistic to if you're carving a pumpkin. Moving on to the neck, I use this Snazaroo light brown face paint and I start to draw lines down my neck. Don't worry too much about this, as these are only going to be guides for later on. So once I've done that, I go over the lines with my airbrush gun, and I'm using the shade Terracotta, and I go over each line. I'm really not worried about how neat these are or how straight these are, because I want it to look like spray paint and a little bit messy. Once I've done that, I go back to the mouth and I decide to do some shading with this shade. So what I do is go in a little bit around the edges, so like you can see, if there is a big gap, I fill it in a little bit. I don't want to go overboard, it's just going to be some shading. Once I've done that around the mouth, I do it around the nose and the eyes as well. It's basically like drawing another line just a little bit away from it in a darker shade. Going in with that small eyeliner brush that I used earlier and some black face paint, I run a really thin line down the centre of the lines that I had already drawn. Going back to the shade Genuine Orange, I lightly, and I mean really lightly, spray over it all so that the black lines are not too harsh on the neck. So to finish off this look, I put on some mascara and then I put on the Urban Decay Tricked Out Lashes. These seem to be the only eyelashes that I'm using at the moment, but they're honestly my favourite. Lastly, I put on this wig, and you probably recognise it as I used it in my full fairy tutorial last month, but I will link this and everything else in the description down below. I thought I would put this in here because I couldn't work out whether I liked it or not, but I did get some fake poison ivy and put it in my hair, and a part of me loves it and a part of me doesn't, so I'll put this in here and you can decide. So this is the final look. Please let me know if you liked it by leaving me a comment or pressing the like button, and also hit that subscribe button if you do not want to miss any of my future Halloween tutorials. I have been uploading every day this October on Instagram, so if you're not following me on there, make sure you are. It is at brooke.ellis_, and it will also be linked in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!